Mark Consuelos and Kelly Ripa have long been the picture of love, family, and unwavering strength. But now, a heartbreaking truth has come to light. Many people admire Mark Consuelos as an actor, husband, and devoted father, yet he has been privately fighting cancer, news that shocked his entire family. And Kelly Ripa, the beloved morning show host in the United States, broke down in tears on air because the revelation was simply too overwhelming for her to bear. What chain of events led to this devastating discovery? How did Kelly find the strength to keep going? And what does this mean for the future of one of the nation's most cherished couples? Do not lose interest, because this story carries sadness, hope, and the kind of love that survives life's most brutal storms. As rumors began to circulate, they didn't originate from tabloids. They came from inside Mark and Kelly's home. Small changes in Mark's health, a lingering tiredness that wouldn't fade, and a cough that refused to go away. Though subtle, these signs were impossible for Kelly to overlook. At first, Mark brushed it off. He had always been strong, full of energy, the one his family could rely on. But Kelly noticed something deeper. A partner's intuition is rarely wrong. Behind closed doors, while the world still saw the same charming Mark Consuelos smiling on their TV screens, a quiet storm was forming, one that would soon reveal itself with painful clarity. Then came the doctor's visit, the moment that changed everything. After the doctors finally delivered the diagnosis, it felt like their entire world flipped upside down. Cancer. The word struck like a bolt of lightning through Mark Consuelos' life. Kelly felt the news was unreal, unthinkable. The man she had loved for decades, the father of their children, her soulmate, was suddenly in a fight for his life. The word cancer carries a weight many of you watching may know all too well. It is more than a diagnosis. It is an explosion that rattles every part of your world. Kelly later said she could barely breathe in that moment. When she looked at Mark, she didn't just see her husband. She saw her partner through every chapter of adulthood, the love of her life, and someone she was absolutely not ready to lose. Mark, sensing her fear, whispered, "We'll get through this together." Kelly Ripa's on-air job is to bring joy to millions each morning. But when she returned to her show just days after Mark's diagnosis, she couldn't hide her emotions. Her voice trembled, tears welled in her eyes, and the normally composed host struggled to keep it together. She told her audience that her family was facing something incredibly difficult. Though she didn't give all the details then, her raw emotion spoke louder than words. America saw more than a TV personality. They saw a wife, terrified of losing the man she adores. Many viewers connected with her instantly. Fear, love, and heartbreak are emotions we all recognize. But her public breakdown was only the start of a long road filled with sleepless nights and endless unanswered questions. The news devastated their children, Michael, Lola, and Joaquim. How do you face the idea that your father, the man who guided you, protected you, and loved you unconditionally, is now battling cancer? Kelly and Mark agreed on one thing: they wouldn't hide the truth. They gathered their children and told them everything. There were tears, but also promises, promises to face all of it together, no matter what was ahead. Still, privately, Kelly took on the role of the family's rock. She cried alone at night so her kids wouldn't see how terrified she truly was. Any mother watching knows the painful challenge of being strong for your children while your own heart is breaking. That was Kelly's world, a weight almost too heavy to bear. One night, everything nearly fell apart. Mark's condition worsened suddenly, and he was rushed to the ICU. Kelly later described the scene as a blur of bright lights, urgent voices, and fast-moving medical staff. Sitting in a hospital chair, she broke down completely, sobbing, praying, begging him to stay. Her worst nightmare was unfolding in real time.
Relentlessly. Hours felt like days.
And throughout those agonizing moments, Kelly prayed with a desperation she had never felt before. She wasn't ready to lose him. The ICU scare became the lowest point of their ordeal. But just as the sun began to rise, a sliver of hope appeared. After long hours of uncertainty, the medical team finally shared cautiously optimistic news. Mark was stable. He wasn't out of danger, but he had survived the night. Kelly rushed to his bedside, gripping his hand with a fierce, unspoken vow, "I'm not letting you go." She reminded him of their children, their memories, and the love that had carried them for decades. It wasn't a miracle cure, but it was the hope they desperately needed. From that moment on, even the smallest progress became a beacon guiding them forward. Leaving the ICU wasn't a triumphant celebration, it was a fragile step-by-step journey. Home felt comforting, yet it introduced new challenges. Their life became a schedule of treatments, medications, and monitoring Mark's fluctuating energy. The kitchen counter transformed into rows of prescription bottles. Days were now measured by chemotherapy appointments instead of TV schedules or events. Chemotherapy, a word that once felt distant, became their new reality. It drained Mark's physical strength, chipping away at the vibrant energy he once carried so effortlessly. But his spirit refused to break. Even at his weakest, there were sparks of humor, moments of determination, and gentle squeezes of Kelly's hand, reminders that he was still fighting. Meanwhile, Kelly was living two lives. At dawn, she slipped out of the quiet house, leaving Mark in the hands of a nurse or one of their children, and drove to the studio. Under the bright lights, she transformed back into Kelly Ripa, America's morning sunshine. She laughed, joked, and entertained the nation. But those who watched closely noticed a deeper look in her eyes, a quiet resilience shaped in private heartbreak. She mentioned family difficulties vaguely, thanked viewers for their kindness, and let them in just enough without revealing everything. Her vulnerability didn't weaken her, it made her more real, more relatable, more human. The moment the cameras turned off, the smile faded. She rushed home, back to the man who was her entire world. The children stepped up in ways no one expected. Michael became the steady organizer, helping with appointments and errands. Lola became her father's emotional anchor, sitting with him for hours and giving him a comforting sense of normalcy. And young Joaquin became the light of the house, always ready with a joke or a smile to lift his father's spirits. One evening, all four of them sat together while a movie played softly. Mark slept peacefully in his chair, wrapped in a blanket. The children sat close, forming a quiet circle of support. Kelly looked around and saw her entire world right there. No fame, no illness, no cameras, just love. A love stronger than fear, a love that refused to break. They understood, without speaking, that they were one unit, and nothing, not even cancer, would pull them apart.